Marionette lines are such a common concern that people come to see me in clinic with, and they're the lines that come from the corner of our mouth downwards. So it's more than a droopy mouth corner, it's when we actually get sort of this crease forming here. And you can see it a little bit on this model here. You can see this depression that's forming from the corner of the mouth downwards. Once upon a time, you would have come into a clinic and someone would have put some filler in here, and the line might have looked a little better to begin with, but often it takes more filler than people realise, and that excessive use of fillers in this area can really widen the chin area and make you look a little bulky rather than better. So what can we do about it? Well, again, the key here is to understanding what's happening so that we can treat it appropriately. And marionette lines are largely structural. They're caused by the descent of the facial fat pads. Now, most of our facial fat pads, as we age, shrink in volume, but there are some that get heavier, and they're this one, the nasolabial fat pad, and here, the superior and inferior jowl fat pads. Everything further back shrinks as we age, and these ones tend to become, in many people, a little fuller. So what you have is a loss of volume here and a gain in volume here, meaning our fat proportionately just drifts downwards, causing this fold to form. And that's exacerbated by also a loss of bony volume. So as we age, the cheekbone, the zygoma, shrinks, and the jaw shrinks in pretty much every dimension. It becomes smaller in this vertical dimension, and the angle of the jaw also starts to blunt and come forward a little, and the chin will significantly change in shape and become shorter and squarer. So this loss of bony support means that you have less framework to hold your facial tissues firmly. So all of that is really important to understand, because then when it comes to assessing you and what's happening in your face, we can put together a treatment plan that is more appropriate for you and will give you the more natural results in the long term. What we want to be looking at is replacing what you've lost rather than having a one-size-fits-all approach. One thing that's really important to think of, and is a concept that I like, is even though this is what you're pointing to, say you're building a house, this is like putting the paint on the wall at the very end, and you wouldn't put the paint on the wall if you hadn't got sound foundations on the house. We need to work on putting those foundations back in first, really working on the structure and contour of the face before we then fine-tune and decorate. So a really great treatment, and my favourite treatment for treating marionette lines, is with facial fillers. But I will treat far more holistically rather than just putting filler in here. That treatment will require treatment to the cheeks, treatment to the jawline, treatment to the lip, because the deflation of the lip also contributes towards the formation of the marionette line. And as the very last touch, we'll be refining whatever we might need to in this area, looking to use as little product as we need to and not adding to the bulk of that area and making it look heavier rather than better. We can also potentially use a little bit of wrinkle relaxation or muscle relaxation in this muscle, the depressor anguli oris, which is responsible for pulling the mouth corner down. This one right here. Now, actually, in many people, it won't solve a marionette line, but it might help it. It might just help to address some of the underlying cause, that dominant depressor muscle, and help us to get a little bit more lift. I'm also a big fan of using the M-face, because the M-face works to stimulate and improve the tone in the muscles of the face that help to lift, but it doesn't strengthen those that would pull the face downwards. So again, we can really help to get some lift through our mid-face and take some of the weight off that marionette line. So what we have to remember is there's no one-size-fits-all approach. It is a more structural area. It's not as simple as just putting a little drop of filler in here, but we can get some really lovely results if you're treated properly. If this content has been useful for you, please give it a thumbs up or send me a little message below, and please do subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this.